Am I adulting good?
I just don't know what I'm doing. I can't breathe.
I feel so anxious.
This is what it's all about.
I just don't know what I'm doing. I can't breathe.
This is what life's all about. I just don't know what I'm doing. Oh, what's going on?
I don't understand.
Welcome to the Am I Adulting Good podcast, where we talk about all things self-help and the reality behind trying to adult to our best ability in this world. We're your hosts, Brianna, Kriss,
And I'm Caroline Savransky.
and we are both in community mental health, so we've seen some pretty interesting things.
Deciding to take on the journey of self-betterment is daunting and hard. Let's make the mistakes together and share what does and does not work. Because hey, are any of us doing anything right? And if we are, how would we even know?
We will cover a variety of topics like the old self-sabotage, toxic relationships, finding yourself after a breakup, or perfectionism. Special guests will be invited for most episodes to share their experiences and wisdom.
This podcast is aimed at anyone and everyone who needs a little bit of help getting their shit together and wants some company in doing so. We're in it for the laughs, but if we can learn something on the way, then that's good too.
Am I adulting good?
My jumper is covered in baby vomit. I don't know if you can see,
Oh,
but I just did,
delicious.
I did an overnight babysitting shift I just got back from, and the baby
Oh.
just regurgitated everything I fed it onto me.
Are you up all night with a baby like that, or like young, or do you get to sleep?
I slept 2 hours, and then the baby cried the rest of the night.
Oh, that's why the parents palming the child off.
And by the baby, do you mean you?
We both cried. You know when you're just like, please stop.
Just shake it back to sleep.
You're just like, shh.
Could I shake it until maybe it goes more than just to sleep?
I shook it quiet, guys.
I just went for a walk with Cam by kind of Sans Souci beachfront area. So beautiful. And then we decided to take a random route back through some of the wetlands and kind of swamp sections. And there's this one, like, really, it looks like a lake of, it looks like it's basically growing coronavirus in there. There's just like greens and purples flowing down like this little sort of riverbed. It's just disgusting. But in the base of it, because he tried to get across it, there's 3 milk carts. And so he jumped over them. The second one went straight under and he got his foot fully wet. And then he got up and just nearly stacked it completely in. And he's like, all right, your turn. And I'm like, wait, what? And then so he got another crate and put it in. I just had to like race across it. But then my feet got really wet and dirty. And now I definitely think I've got a new strain of coronavirus on my feet.
Yeah, go
Or
and
at least
put
here.
peroxide on them. Oh, it's kind of green actually.
Disgusting. Let me lick
That-
them clean.
It's poisonous.
It was beautiful though, but then I feel like I definitely have trench foot.
What's trench foot? That just sounds hilarious, but I don't know what that is.
I think it's like when the people in the army used to get it when they're like walking in their boots in like wet environments and never take the boot off, and then they get like basically the worst type of foot fungus you can get.
Yeah,
and your foot is like
infection.
wet and soggy and then rots, and
I
not
feel like
yeah.
I have that in my vagina.
Gross, Caroline. Well, it's where it's like
Soggy.
it's because they're boots and they don't breathe and they're just in swamp and they're just like in mud all day.
do you wear
So-
wet leather pants to bed? You're like, yes.
Arseless leather chaps.
Yeah. Gotta let
you
it
probably
breathe.
got the case of the trench badge.
Oh gosh.
The
What you
doctor's just
do.
like, I don't know how you have this.
This is like every strain of every STI I've ever seen in my entire life combined into. Have you seen Blue Waffle?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Let me look at it.
Clutches are
Blue
great. You can use them to push things.
waffle. So this is what comes up when I type in the blue waffle. Let me share my screen with you all, because that's what we can do with technology these days. blue waffle.
Yum.
It's actually a
I'm
blue
looking at it
waffle.
now, and I think that they have banned the actual image. Anyway,
Can you take off like censor? I'm an adult. Fuck you, government.
The internet's like, no one needs to see this.
I think
Maybe
We're
this-
deleting it.
we live in such a PC culture.
I wanna
Oh,
see
that's a
something
topic and a
gross.
half.
Nah,
Blue
don't worry
waffle?
about it. It's just a very, 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 very diseased vagina that went viral in like 2008.
Yum.
Blue waffle cone here on the right. That looks like a very diseased vagina.
Yeah, it's pretty much. That is it basically.
In a cartoon form. Look at the waffle cone.
Isn't it beautiful?
It was pretty much the equivalent of 2 girls, 1 cup.
Yeah.
Oh, tasty. Have you seen 2 boys, 1 cup? It's really funny.
Is
It's a
it-
just
spin-off.
Throwing a ball to each other's cup. Or their own ball, maybe.
We should
Okay, well-
probably get a start on. Firstly, I'll say that apologies. Today we have Lara, and we have actually already recorded this episode once before, but good old Brianna here, not blaming myself or anything, lost the recording. So we have to do this all over again. So thank you so much for being with us today and for having to put up with us again.
No worries, Brianna. That's okay. Honestly, it didn't really bother me because it's not like a topic that I haven't spoken about before or something. So I wasn't like, oh no, now I have to try and figure out what I'm going to say about this again. It was like, oh yeah, okay. The next time I talk about this, it'll sound even better.
Well,
This is the third and fourth time.
you should probably mention what the topic is, and that's bankruptcy.
Thank you, Caroline.
Yeah. In fact, I
Everyone's
had
like,
to mention this
"Ooh."
many times to the court, to the judge, to my mom.
I'm sorry, Lara, that you are an expert on bankruptcy.
I know, at
Constantly-
31, you wouldn't think that was a thing that you'd be an expert at, really.
And I can just imagine you every time you talk about it, oh, and I'll give them a tip to do this and how to rot this system. And
I wish it was about rotting systems because that makes me sound like I have money,
whoa. I'll bring you back on when we get to Centrelink.
which I don't.
Mass tax evasion, offshore accounts. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hiding money in your grandchildren's bank accounts.
Yeah.
Thanks,
My
Grammy.
My dog buries my money for me in the backyard, so I don't even know where it is.
Yeah. All right. Well, as you know now, the grand topic of today is bankruptcy. And a reason why we actually wanted to talk about this is because there is generally, when you hear about the term bankruptcy or people going into liquidation, you think that somebody has absolutely failed in life, that there should be so much shame, and how did they get themselves into that position? And like, is that going to taint them for life? How can you actually recover from that? What does it mean for your future endeavors with money? And, how the bank and your, I guess, what is it called? Credit rating goes. Wanted to bring you on to be able to, nip some of these rumors in the butt and to give us a first hands-on experience of, why somebody would actually claim bankruptcy, how they got themselves into this position, why you chose the path of bankruptcy over other things, and what it means now for who you are in your future, and I guess the repercussions of the action.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's something that a lot of people are really afraid of to even just talk about. Like, it's like so taboo. And I do know a few of our friends have other friends that have claimed bankruptcy, and they told me about their friends that had claimed bankruptcy, and they were like, don't mention it to them because they're totally embarrassed and don't want anyone to know. And I was like, oh, okay. And I'm like, I'm about to talk about this openly on a podcast. Like, I don't have that same kind of feeling about it. Like, I'm not ashamed, at least. But I guess it all started with I've had some health problems, and over the last maybe say like 10 years, those health problems have become worse and worse. And then it was kind of towards the end of 2018 that those health problems became extremely bad. And I had a bad hip pain to the point where I could barely walk without, crying or wailing in the street. And
I just picture you now. Sorry, it's not funny, but like
it's not funny, but it's actually exactly what I was like. It sounds comical.
It reminds me of that meme I think I sent you or you sent me the other day, of where it was just this woman, she's like, my 4-year-old child is eating spoonfuls of barbecue sauce and sobbing in between each bite. She's like, I've been there, sister.
We've all been in the street wailing without broken crutch.
Yeah. And I mean, the hard thing as well is when you're that unwell and then financial issues then come into it, then stress just takes over, and then depression and anxiety, and it's just like a giant fucking cesspool of not feeling good. And so when I moved home, I made the executive decision to move home because I couldn't work anymore and I wasn't doing well at my job, and letting myself down probably more than anyone else, because my job was really understanding and knew that I was not well and in pain. And so I decided that I needed to do something about it. I'm going to move home to Kendall, which is like 4.5 hours away from Sydney and all my friends and my life of like 13 years. Ugh. And then back with my parents. So that adds another stress to the situation. And then once I got back here, I had to sort of figure out my life and my finances. And that was when it became a problem, because I couldn't work. I was struggling and I couldn't get Centrelink benefits, which they have like a sickness benefit. And I tried and like I think 9 months or maybe 8 months had gone by and I still hadn't received any money from Centrelink. And then by that time had gone by, I tried all these other avenues and nothing was really helping me get the financing under control, which was like credit cards, phone bills, etc. And I had about let's say 20 grand. I think it's under that, but that's just an easy number. 20 grand in debt. And they were all building up, because every time that you don't pay something, you get charged and then you miss your monthly fee. And so like everything just keeps stacking and stacking. And
I also remember though that you had your credit card debt, and then I actually helped you open up, I think it was personal loans that you could pay off the credit card debt,
but they rejected
and then you have and then have like a lower interest rate, but then they rejected you. And it's just funny how they do that, where it's just, there should be a way where it's just like, I'm actually struggling and I want to be able to pay this off. Can I please just transfer it onto something that has less interest?
Yeah, I mean, like they kind of shot themselves in the foot there, because if they had done that, I probably would have been able to pay it off. But instead I claimed bankruptcy, which they just lost out on that money.
Oh, so when you claim bankruptcy, what happens to your credit card debt?
So what I'm aware of with the bank, so it's different for different things, but it's like insolvent. So I'm pretty sure that they basically wipe your debt with them. So like they have insurance. I assume a lot of money insurance, but they have insurance. But so like your debt just gets wiped, and then I'm not sure whether the government works with them and their insurance to like help them out, or if they just lose out. I didn't really go that in depth with the bank, because I was kind of like, fuck you by the end of it. They didn't want to help me, so I was like, well, now I'm just going to walk away from everything. I'm
sure it's a lot more complex than it sounds, but it's coming across like, I want to go get a credit card with the maximum limit, go on a shopping spree, and then claim bankruptcy. Because that sounds pretty good. What are the negative effects of it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that if you do that, like they look at your situation. If I had gone and just spent like 20 grand on a shopping spree and then 3 weeks later was like, I can't pay this back, I'm claiming bankruptcy, I think that it would be a little bit of a different situation. They might not have accepted it. But I did
also take all your belongings.
Yeah, so I did write down all of the information that I had on it. Obviously, it's different for every country. If you're in Australia, New South Wales, this is the information that I read. So the benefits and limitations that impacted on my, life were, the first question I wrote to myself was, do I still have to pay my debts? Well, no, I don't. But then that's because of the situation that I'm in. I'm currently on Centrelink, not working, exempt from doing anything to do with Centrelink due to medical exemption. I don't have an income that is high enough to have to pay anything back. However, if you claimed bankruptcy but then were still working, it says on the AFSA governmental website, which I can link you both, and you can put it on the podcast. Yeah. You can't earn over a certain level of income in bankruptcy. This is kind of true. So between $59,559.50 to $81,000.92. After this, you have to give a portion of your income to the trustee. So when you claim bankruptcy, you get appointed a trustee who works on maintaining, I guess, what's going on for you over a 3-year period. And that's just person you have to check in with. And there's a lot of things you have to check in with over if you're in this kind of bracket. So maybe you're earning $81,000 a year and then you get a pay rise and you go over that, then you have to contact your trustee and then they contact your employer. So you kind of have to talk to your employer, I think, as well. And then a portion of that money that is over the $81,000 starts going back to the trustee, which pays off the debt that you had.
Wow. So wait, so how long after you've claimed bankruptcy is that kind of trustee account there? 3 years?
3 years, yeah. It closes and then you're free of your debt, essentially.
Wow. So basically go find a job and try to earn $80,000 a year. And if they ask you if you want a pay rise, just be like, I will in 2 years' time, and then give me a pay rise. But please backtrack all the money that you were going to owe me.
Yeah. In 2 more years, I want a pay rise, but also inclusive of the 2 years that I didn't get one now.
Exactly.
So I want $89,000.
I love how Brianna's just try not to earn 80,000. I've been trying to earn 80,000 my whole life.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever earned 81,000 a year. That sounds like complete mumbo jumbo to my brain.
Yeah, in our industry, that's maybe I'll reach it one day. But I just wanted to quickly explain for our international listeners, because apparently we've got quite some few listeners in Japan. Centrelink is our government payment scheme. So they pay for disability or if you're job searching and stuff like that. So we're very lucky to have that. So
social services.
So has Centrelink been keeping you afloat, Lara?
Yeah, since 2019, I think December, I started to get benefits. Once I went on, so they took away a thing called sickness benefit, which I would have gone on for my surgeries and whatnot, but they took it away. So I went on to Job Seek, which is government provides you with money and you have to look for work and you have to kind of uphear, these meetings and bookings and such. But when you're ill, you just get a medical exempt form, which is the SU 415 for anyone who is sick and needs to get out of doing anything like that. You can do that with your doctor. And then I just had to submit that every 3 months. That kind of went through for 2 years of every 3 months working out. It wasn't until I actually had my surgery this year that Centrelink we're cutting you off now. We don't believe that you actually have anything wrong with you. And I was like, I just had surgery. I can't walk. I'm in bed. What? And then I had to go through a social worker who then looked at my case and was like, what the hell? You're a crippled person right now. That's probably not the right term. So sorry, anyone out there who actually is. But yeah. And they were like, I don't know why they're kicking you off. They're kind of just being assholes. Obviously, you're in no condition to go back to work and you'd be a liability to any company. So no. And then they exempt me for another year. I was like, thank you. So yeah.
Within that time, you'll get your second surgery and you'll get another year.
Well, yeah, I'll talk about that a little bit towards the end, just so I don't commandeer the conversation.
You're the interviewee. We expect you to commandeer the
okay.
conversation.
Well, then I'll tell you, because I went to Newcastle yesterday or the day before that for a night, and I went to the hospital and had my 12-week, but I think it was around 13-week checkup. They gave me the green light to start physiotherapy, which is really good, which I'm excited about because I've spent about 6 weeks in bed. So I was just staring at my ceiling or the internet, trying to figure out when I would finally crack and not be a human anymore. And then I had another 6 weeks of trying to walk on crutches and, starting a small amount of weight bearing. And then, now I'm at the point where I walk with like I look like a duck right now. Like I waddle. I'm like, bloom, bloom, bloom. Like that would be my sound if I was a character in a cartoon or something.
Bloom, 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 bloom.
Yeah, that's my walk. But yeah, I can now start physiotherapy, which means just like strengthening all the muscles, like loosening a lot of the tendons. Because they did a pelvic reconstruction surgery, it's like a lot of stuff has been moved around internally. And yeah, that means that I have the green light to exercise again, which is fucking great news.
Yay! I'm so excited.
But then the catch-22 is they've given me 6 months to recover fully on my right leg, and in December I go in for my left hip.
Oh wow, so you're going in December?
Yeah.
Wow. You know what, it's good to just smash it out of the way, especially whilst you've got the support and comfort around you. That's very exciting.
Yeah, well, that's what he said. Was just like, so what are we looking at? When do you want to do the next one? I was like, soon as possible. Now, if possible.
I'm so proud of you. That means a lot. Yeah, because I know that when you first got the surgery done, you're like, I am not getting my other hip done. I do not care. Like, not going through that again. But yeah, I'm happy you are. That's amazing.
I mean, if I didn't have to, I wouldn't. But with the way that I'm noticing that I'm walking, because I've got like, I guess they call it a different height gait. So I think like one hip is lower, one is higher. They're both different angles now. And so if I was to just not get my left done, I would walk like a duck for the rest of my life. I would never be able to run. I would probably have to get like a club shoe or something.
Well, once you are able to run again and not walk like a duck and you get back into work, what's that going to look like for you? Is there going to be anything different that you have to do as someone who has gone?
I'll say that though, it'll be your 3-year mark. You're going to be in the clear.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I'm fortunate enough so end of 2022, the bankruptcy in like December, I guess will be ends. So when I reach that date, and if I'm looking for work, then nothing. I won't have to declare it to anyone. It'll be like on a public record, but I don't have to like disclose that information to anyone. However, if you were to not be in my situation and have claimed bankruptcy, like there are some things that you have to do. So I'll just go to my little list of information that I put down. So where is it? Sorry. That's okay. So one of the things that I kind of wrote down was like my myth busting ideas. But it does, I wrote something about the employer, and it was that, will your employer find out if you're bankrupt, or, does it affect you going back to work? And as I said before, it doesn't actually affect you, and it isn't an issue unless you go for a job that pays over that threshold, 81,092 cents. So if you go back to work and you're earning under that, you don't have to disclose to anyone at work that you have it. If you want to, you could tell your boss. I don't think they're going to look at you in any way like, oh, don't hire her, she can't pay her debts. Like, that doesn't bother them. Like, you're getting paid by them, you don't owe them any money.
Is that only within the 3 years, or is that after the 3 years?
No, just within the 3 years.
Okay.
So you have a 3-year period where you've got to like adhere all of these things. And then once you get past that 3 years, then it's basically your slate is wiped clean. You have a 0 rating of credit, so you have to build that again. And you don't have to tell people, or you don't have limitations and stuff like that. There are some limitations, like not heaps, but like you can get a loan during the 3 years that you are so weird. You can be bankrupt and within 18 months or maybe it's 12 months of being bankrupt, so before the 3 years is over, you can get a credit card and you can get a loan again. I honestly don't recommend doing that, because if you've just claimed bankruptcy and you're going to get a credit card and a loan again, you're basically just digging your hole. Like you're starting your new slate with a bad foot.
Yeah, can we claim bankruptcy for a second time?
Yeah. I think
So what's the problem?
you can claim bankruptcy like maybe a year after you've ended your first one or something. Like it's quite soon.
Excellent.
I assume that they frown upon you doing that and want to know more information of how the hell you got there.
None of your damn business. I have a lifestyle that I need to maintain.
They're like, we would like some doctor's records from you. Are you okay? You seem unstable. This is your second time round.
Physically, I'm fine. Mentally.
I can't stop spending money on credit cards I can't pay off. Woohoo! When you are in your 3-year period, if you get a credit card or a loan, which you can get, it's just up to the bank to give it to you. But the main thing is you have to disclose that you've been bankrupt, because it's illegal if you don't.
Oh, like forever?
No, just in a 3-year period.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
You have to tell them in the 3-year period. I'm relatively sure that it's like a fining, jailing offense if you don't.
Wow.
Type thing. So you want to you want to adhere to like those types of things, because you're already doing something that most people frown upon. You don't want to be an asshole and not tell them other things and then get yourself in trouble.
Unless you're a psychopath, and that's probably exactly what you want to do. Or a sociopath, your choice.
But then you're probably really good at manipulating people and no one would even know. And then the other thing is that the credit, your interest is a lot higher. So for a normal person who isn't bankrupt, it would just be at a normal rate. But because you're bankrupt, they're like, we don't trust that you'll pay this back, so we're going to make the interest really high.
And we're going to make you pay back even more that you can't get out of.
Yeah, exactly. So wait, that doesn't sound like that's going to work anyway. But I think that they would look at your situation and be like, how much are you earning? Do you have any savings? Can you even afford to pay this credit card back? So it'd probably be a lot harder to get a credit card, I would say, or a loan. I mean, like loans are relatively hard to get if you don't have a stable income.
I earn $81,000.63. Thank you very much. No, I wish. Just don't get to that 95-cent mark and you're fine.
Yeah. They accidentally pay the wrong amount of 95 cents extra. You're like, damn.
God damn you.
So thinking of the type of people who would consider bankruptcy, after those 3 years, is there any repercussions, say, for if you wanted to get a home loan, or any of the much greater financial loans you might want to go for?
As far as I know, after the 3 years, you stay on a list for like maybe 2 years. It might be a 5-year list or something that is notified to banks when you get if you're renting, like getting a house, like big investment. And then you do stay for the rest of your life, you do stay on like a government page which just says everyone that's ever claimed bankruptcy. So you can have a look on that. It's open and available to anyone to look at. Like, which rich people have claimed bankruptcy? Probably all of them. Then that's accessible to anyone. But after, I think it's a 5-year period, they can't ask you. They're not allowed. Like, it's not, if they did ask you, you could just decline and say, sorry, I don't want to answer that question.
So if you also claim bankruptcy and say that you were a wealthy person, things went sour, you gambled a lot of money away, or, there was a business deal that went under and you didn't make anything and you have all these assets. If you claim bankruptcy, do they take your assets away? Can they reclaim your house to pay off certain contractors or things like that?
Okay, so there's a few things that can happen. I guess every case is different. So there's a type of thing which I'm sure that you guys all know about, which is secured debt, which would mean, for example, a car under finance. You might have I have a feeling that phone bills, there's a few things that are like in this secured debt category. So if you had something that wasn't paid back in full, they can ask you to surrender that item to the creditor. So if you had a car under finance that wasn't paid off, that would be asked to surrender over to the because what they do is when you claim bankruptcy, you have to submit all of your investments, all of the things that you own that are worth money. That includes tools. So if you're a builder, any tool that you have that's worth money. I think probably not a handsaw, but like, decent tools that are worth something. That might be a truck that you've got on finance for your business. If you have a salon, it might be all of the hair drying things. So like all of these appliances, anything that can be sold and you can make money from, you have to say that you own that. I was really fortunate at the time. And I think things that are, so for instance, like laptops, phones, things that you need, you don't have to submit and say that it is a part, because that's like something that you need every day. But if you have a camera, if you have a flat screen TV that's worth 10 grand, if you have, I don't know, let's just say
pair of Doc Martens.
Yeah. Oh no. Like,
that's like $300.
All that I have are the shoes on my feet and the clothes on my back. We'll be taking those, thank you. If you had more than one car, like I think if you own items, so for instance, your house, if you didn't own that might be something that the creditor can not take it away from you, but it's like they become the owner of the estate or a portion of it or something like that. To be honest, I didn't have to do anything like that crazy, and I didn't own anything that was worth money in this investment sense that I had to declare. If I was going to declare anything, they would be like, that's a secondhand cupboard, no, we don't want that. I'll be like, but it's antique, and they'll be like, still it's old, no.
If they come to your home to, claim all your stuff, what happens if, wink, wink, it's all in your parents' garage?
Well, that's the other thing. There's a lot of stories out there about people claiming bankruptcy, and before they claim bankruptcy, they sign all their belongings over to their partner or their parents or a friend or their best, their partner, whatever. And that actually does happen. People will sign over expensive paintings, sign over, investment properties, whatever they have, and put it into someone else's name. Yeah. Even though it's their debt, they'll put in someone else's name. And then when they claim bankruptcy, the person who is the trustee can't go and take any of that stuff. So those people get to be bankrupt for a few years and then get all their stuff back, which is totally wrong. And you shouldn't be able to do that, especially if you're a rich person who already has a lot of money and then you're just rotting the system. I mean, I think that it's an unfair process, but I don't know if they can stop people doing that kind of thing. Like, I don't know. I'm not really sure. Maybe they can by law if they catch them out doing it, but I'm not sure.
I've actually just seen it on TV when like very rich people go bankrupt and they put all their $1 million paintings in some locker of storage or something. So that's just where I got that.
Yeah.
So can I ask, if somebody wanted to claim bankruptcy, what would be the first steps they would take?
Well, I think the first step to take, just as like in any country, is to just go onto Google, type in where you are, and write in bankruptcy, just straight up. When that comes up, there'll be a lot of different information that comes up, and just have a read of, there's lots of different businesses that help you do it. There's people that you can go through that help you claim so that you don't have to do anything. There's government websites. I mean, every country, state, place will be different. So that's why I'm saying to just have a look on Google first and then find what's relevant to where you are, because it's important to find where you are that's relevant, because you could just be finding information from another country, reading all the wrong information and then being like, yay, this is going to be fine. And then it's not. But what I did was I did exactly that, looked around, had a few reads of web pages where they would help you do it and just what the process was and the steps that you have to take. And then after that, I went straight to the government website because I knew that would be the most relevant with the correct information, that I didn't have to worry if I was getting cross lines. And then once I went through that, they give you a step-by-step process. And then through that, you find a person which will help you put your claim through, and then once your claims, you've written out all the information, which is a few pages of information, especially if you have like a lot of assets. You have to fill out a lot of information about your assets if you have them. Then once that's submitted, you get appointed a trustee. They'll contact you via email, and then you kind of just go from there. Like they tell you what you need to do. They let you know what your limitations are. They let you know if you have to check in. They let you know how much money you'll need to pay if you're earning over a certain amount. Like all of that sort of goes through a trustee. So you go through a government and you get a person that helps you submit, and then you get a person that works with you after that.
Okay. Yeah, awesome. So you're still working with your person until the 3 years is up?
Yeah. So a few of the things that I would need to contact them is if I wanted to get a credit card or a loan, I would have to contact them and let them know. When I start renting again, I think you have to declare during your bankruptcy that you are renting, that you're bankrupt, because then they can make a decision on whether they want you to rent in the house, which is fair enough. If you travel outside of Australia or your own country, you have to contact your trustee and you have to get a form that you fill out. So you can go traveling. That's like another myth. People are like, oh, you can't go traveling if you have been bankrupt, but you can. You just have to like fill out information so they know that you're not like fleeing the country and not coming back. So it's like, have you got a visa? Have you got a return flight? Where are you going? Where are you staying? How long? Blah, blah, blah.
I've got my Visa credit card.
And my new loan, and I'm never coming back. Wait, what? But yeah, they're just like a few of the things that you need to kind of declare with them.
Yeah. And what do you know what happens with student debt?
So that you don't get taken away. So my student debt stays there. Also, what else stays there? I think my phone bill obviously stayed. I can just keep paying that off. I think as well, there was another type of debt. I can't remember what that one was. It might have been if you had a debt on like maybe a house or something, you wanted to keep the house and like you could freeze it or something and then pay it back. Like you can like think some things get frozen with the bankruptcy and then they come back after and you pay, but then I think that you still have to pay like all of your interest in that time as well. So like it kind of just gets like moved forward. Also, they were doing that in COVID for people. So like that is actually something that the banks can do if they want to help you out. And with things like a house, they want to because, you know, they want to make that interest on you, right?
And I guess with student debt as well, you only ever pay it back when you're earning over a certain threshold anyway.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Not like
so like
that,
it sits there until you're on that threshold and pay it back. So if you were earning,
dies with you.
Yeah. But I mean, I think maybe if you were over the threshold of that 81,000 and that meant that you had to pay back some of your student debt, but also that you also need to pay your trustee, you would probably ask to pay your trustee first.
Ooh, okay. I have one last question about bankruptcy. And that's, what if you're in a relationship and your partner has assets and funds? Do they get to claim them if you claim bankruptcy, or are you seen as a separate
separate entity? Yeah, separate entity.
Wow.
So for instance, like if you're claiming bankruptcy in a marriage and you have children and a family and a husband, whatever, anything that is the other person's thing, and to be honest, you could just say all the household stuff is my partner's. I own this car, I own this camera, I own, you know, this and this. And if you own it, I don't think they can take it. But if it's like in the finance as that secure debt, I think I was talking about, then they can take it from you. But there's kind of lots of loopholes as well, or like there's kind of like lots of information out there that sometimes a creditor will be like, no, I'm taking this, but actually you might have used money from your super fund to pay for it, and therefore they're not allowed to touch that. So then they can't take the car off you. Like there's quite a few little things that are loopholes. So if you are claiming bankruptcy, like do like look into all of the information out there, like get a really good understanding of what your situation is and what limitations you have and what rules and regulations you have to follow, because they're different for every single person. And like, I guess the more debt you're in, the more money you owe, maybe the higher the risk is, or maybe the more problems you'll face. I'm not really sure. Like I was very lucky because I wasn't claiming a huge amount of money, but it was a stressful amount for myself to have to deal with. And I didn't have to pay any money back. Like I'm not earning enough money now to have to pay any money back. So I'll basically walk away after 3 years and be able to sort my life out and not have to worry about, you know, owing money again.
Thanks so much for sharing with us, Lara. Bearing your soul, your scarlet letter.
Yeah.
Your
taboo topic.
Your slutty, saucy, what's it called? Your slutty, saucy
stories.
indiscretions.
Yeah.
So we like to wrap up each show with the Holy Trinity. A gratitude, a brag, and a desire. If you may give us one of each, please.
Well, I guess so great for my gratitude. I would say my willpower at the moment. Like, you know, I've been pushing through pain, fatigue, depression, anxiety. Also, I'm back on the Candida diet, and that's really hard. Like, I know that some people might not know what that is, but basically it's like no sugar, no carbohydrates, basically no bottled sauces, nothing from the cupboard. Everything has to be fresh, and you have to make everything for yourself. So yeah, just my willpower to be able to like stick to what I'm doing and stay on track and not like, you know, bury my head in the backyard and never talk to anyone ever again and give up completely.
Ooh.
Because honestly, I feel like with all the stuff I've been going through, like I would not be surprised at the amount of people that would be like, I can't do this.
Yeah, seriously, that is definitely a good one.
What about a brag?
A brag, I guess, like during my couple of years up here, I started up a Depop page, so that's been kind of fun. I started off sort of navigating the website, not really knowing like what to do, and then just like, you know, research and, you know, repetition of using it all the time, I have made it a lot more professional. So my Depop page is Earth Girl Thrift. I also have a Instagram page, which I will link for everyone if you want to check it out. I basically sell all styles, all sizes, both sexes, of clothing that is vintage, handpicked by me. Like I go out into the field. I'm doing the fingers here. You know, the inverted
and
commas.
This girl has style, I can tell you that.
And, I go hunting. So like for people that don't have the time to go hunting through op shops that are just like, you know, full of crap and then sometimes gems, I go out, I hunt, I find the good things, and then I bring them back and I sell them on my page. I do any, like, sometimes I do alterations, fix things that are maybe missing a button or damaged, clean them, iron them, hang them, and photograph them and edit them and then put them up for people to find.
It's such an awesome thing to do while you're recovering. It's like,
yeah, it's been quite cathartic. It's been nice. It's like something to like keep my mind and soul healthy.
And lastly, what does your heart desire?
I've been thinking about this a lot. I'm like, I don't know, like when I was thinking about it, well, I mean, in our last like recording when we did this, it was like I desire to run again. But then I've been thinking about it now. I think like my desire would be like just to like be at the end of this recovery journey and be able to just like move to wherever I want and like start working again or like run my business or whatever I'm gonna do. Who knows? Everything could all change by then anyway. But yeah, just like get back into like a flow of life again and not be sort of like stunted. It is kind of weird. Like I don't know how many people out there have been in my position. I'm sure heaps. But it is kind of weird like being 31 or 30 when it happened and having to move home with your parents to go through a hectic surgery and like kind of stop all of your life. Like you're away from your friends, you don't have a job anymore, you don't live in the same city, you know, like you can't run, you can't exercise, you can't do all the things you normally do. You're like, am I 80? Like I'm an 80-year-old person. Do I live in an old folk home? Do I have dementia? Like I don't know what's going on. I'm losing the plot. But yeah, it would be just like to be at the end of my journey and just to be doing everything normal again, I guess.
This will make you appreciate it so much more.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, will I start exercising and be like, I love life, or will that only last until I get like sort of back to normal, and then I'll be like, yeah, stuff it, I'm going to lie down.
And Netflix. Can I get another surgery?
It's all
Damn, I was really liking this.
it's all relative, isn't it? I remember when I was too sick to work, I would tell all my friends, I cannot wait to work. I cannot wait till I'm healthy enough to work full time. I cannot wait to have responsibilities. And here I am, and I'm like, fuck, I'm tired.
I cannot wait to be injured or sore again.
Well, maybe not. Maybe not, but the excitement wears off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I constantly say to the people around me, because I never get sick, it's just something that I've got a very solid immune system. I'm like, I just want to get sick so I can take a day off. But then even, I've been a little bit sniffly over the last day, and I'm like, I still don't stop. Still doesn't stop you.
But you're kind of that type of person, like you're go, no matter what. Because if you stop, then like systems fail and things implode.
No, yeah. If I stop, I have to sit with myself. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Always running from your thoughts and demons.
Yeah.
And on that note, bye. Thanks so much for coming on. It's been amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it was good to redo it anyway. It was good to just talk about it again, get it out there. I'm sure that anyone who needs to consider bankruptcy will feel a little bit better after listening to this podcast, because I'm just a normal person. I'm not rich. I just, things happen, guys. And sometimes you just got to take one and for the team and just do it and not stress so much. Honestly, you feel so much better if you're in debt and you claim bankruptcy. You might be like, oh, this is a bit awkward, but like at the end of the day, you don't have that stress of a lingering debt behind you that you can't fucking pay back. Like, no one wants to die of stress and anxiety.
No. Oh, and last question. We didn't say it at the beginning again, but that's so fine. What does adulting mean to you?
Adulting to me, I would say, I don't know, like the typical things like living in your own home, having all of your own stuff, making all your own decisions, being able to afford all the things that you want and not have to call your parents and be like, can I borrow $50? But I guess like in a more deep way, it's like the mental capacity that you have. Like, when I was 18, I was a totally different mindset of a person that I am now. Like I feel like the more that I age and start adulting better, it's just like my mental state and like how I see the world and how I take things in, and just being able to like maybe look at situations from the outside rather than like internalizing everything, freaking out, and then like, having a meltdown every 5 minutes. I feel like, my 20s meltdowns, my 30s has been a bit more zen.
Yeah, you grow a bit of resilience and things get into perspective.
Like every time something terrible happens to you, you kind of build a new like little layer of, shield, and the next time something terrible happens to you, you're like, it's not so bad. I can deal with this. That's like wonderful. Getting up out of bed in the morning.
What is this? That whole thing, like when you're in your 20s, you're like, oh, I don't want to get out of bed. I just want to sleep forever. And when you're in your 80s, you're like, yes, I made it another day.
Oh my God, I woke up this morning. I'm breathing. Woohoo!
Yeah, it's glorious day. The sun is shining.
It's like, Grandma, you haven't gone to sleep.
Is that why I see all the 80-year-olds walking around at 5 a.m. down the street? They're just happy to be alive another day. I'm like, what? Go back to bed, guys. You don't have a job.
You're like, bed is for people who are alive. I am on my way out. Time is running thin. We don't have time for snaps.
Thanks so much.
No worries. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Am I Adulting Good podcast. We hope you guys are getting out of it as much as we are and are learning a trick or two about how to adult. Please give us a review and a 5-star rating, like our podcast, and follow our channel on whichever streaming app you're using. It really helps us reach more people and build our community.
Hit us up on Instagram at Am I Adulting Good? Also, remember to send us your holy trinity and share your stories with us at amiadultinggood@gmail.com. Each week, we'll share one of our adulters' emails, and that could be you. Seriously, we love hearing from you. Keep doing your thing, adulters. We love you. We love you.
adulting good?